Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about another principle of better chess training, and that is feedback. Before we do that, I just want to remind you if you enjoyed this video to hit that like button. If you're not already, consider subscribing to the channel. We talk about improving at chess, including tips like this video, as well as analyzing games and puzzles and game studies. Okay, let's keep moving. What is feedback? Feedback is simply information about performance, so how you play chess, for example, that is used as a basis for improving. And we're going to go a little deeper into that. In general, we can look at it like this feedback loop. This is a very simple version, but basically, you do the action, whether that's playing a game or solving a chess puzzle, and you see what the effect is. Did you win the game? Did you get the puzzle correct? And then you get feedback. What happened? How can you improve? If you got it right, is there any way you could improve upon that? And then you go back and you do it again. Okay? And we'll talk about specific ways that you can use this. Three main types of feedback that uh, you'll be using in chess. There's a whole bunch. When I did a little research on this topic, there are a lot of different types of feedback depending on your field. But the three that we're going to focus on here is right wrong feedback. So that's when, let's say you're doing chessable and you're reviewing your openings. Did you get the move right or did you get it wrong? The next one is coaching. This involves more explanation of what you should be doing and maybe looking deeper into what mistakes that you made. And the other one is evaluation. And this we're very familiar with regard to chess ratings. So you have your overall chess rating, maybe you have your tactics rating. Different software might give you, or different websites and software might give you different ratings for different parts of your chess. And so it kind of is where you stand at the moment. So we'll go a little bit more into each of these. With right or wrong, again, this is kind of the immediate response. If you do a tactical puzzle and you get it wrong, but what you want to do is you want to look for trends. And uh, for example, when I'm studying Chessable, maybe there's a specific opening where I'm getting a specific variation incorrect all the time. And so that's where we need to go the extra step and say, why am I getting this wrong? And maybe I need to study the specific purposes of the moves and why that happens. And the only last thing I'd say about this is don't worry about bad streaks or losing streaks. Uh, this is part of the learning process. And if you want to improve, you're going to need to push the envelope and stretch and grow as part of your training. So you're going to run into more difficult problems, for example, or you're going to run into more difficult opponents on the chessboard. And you have to do that to improve, but that also means that sometimes you're going to get the problem wrong or you're going to lose the game. And so you can't worry about um, if there's a trend that way, as long as you're actually trying to improve upon it. If you're playing a bunch of blitz games and you lose and you don't do anything about it, well, maybe nothing's going to happen in terms of improvement. But if you are trying to look up each game or you're trying to understand why you're making the mistakes, then uh, can't worry about the streak. It will eventually turn itself around. Coaching. So this could be actually working with a coach, and which I do, and I encourage you to do if you have the time and the financial means to do so. It also could mean working with, say, a stronger player, but it could also be things like reading a chess book and doing solitary chess. I've had a couple videos about that in the past, where you try to guess the move, and then you could read the book and see why a specific move is. At least with many well written books. Okay. Um, the main key here is that you want to be an active participant. So if you're receiving coaching, you don't want to just learn. You don't want to just have them talk to you. You want to make sure you're asking questions. You want to make sure you're understanding what they're saying, and um, you got to really set your ego aside. This was something where I've run into this just in little pieces in my own, both as a student and also when I'm coaching uh, my beginner students. Is sometimes we, when we play chess, we put our ego on the line or we put ourselves on the line. And so it hurts sometimes when we're corrected, especially when we think that we had an idea that was uh, that was good. So, in fact, I'm going to show you a quick example from my own play. This is a position from one of my games where I'm playing the black pieces. It arises out of a Trompowsky opening. That's why I have these doubled F pawns. And in this game, I played this move bishop to g4, which seemed kind of a natural move to me, trying to develop this bishop and get it out of the pawn chain so I could play f5 here. Uh, but when I showed this to my coach, he immediately said that this was a mistake. Now, if you just turn on the chess engine, it says that it here that it's about 0.1, which is about even. So it's not a tactical mistake. There's no immediate way for White to punish me. But his point was that later in these types of structures, this light square bishop may be useful to protect the light squares, uh, particularly maybe these pawns. And so I'm going to fast forward a little and show you a little bit what how I found that out on a more personal level here. And this is a later in the game, and here my opponent is conducting a minority attack. And the general idea here is, let me just show you a couple moves. After this, I'm going to end up having some pawn weaknesses. For example, if I take here, this pawn is going to be weak. If I do something else, I'm just going to make a move here like this, and he takes. Now, this pawn is going to be weak. Now, imagine if I had that light square bishop and being able to put it, say, here, to protect this pawn. That is the reason why this move back here, bishop to g4, was a strategic mistake, even though it wasn't necessarily a horrible blunder. But I wouldn't have known that without feedback from my coach. So that is the importance of having good feedback. And the final type of feedback we're going to be discussing today is evaluation. And like I said, this is sort of type of evaluation that is where you stand. So a chess rating could represent this. You could also use maybe more of a qualitative uh, measure, like you're strong in the end game, for example, or strong with tactics. But the whole idea is that it kind of tells you where you're at, and you could use it as a guidepost. I would suggest not as a destination necessarily, because everything kind of can be improved. We want to talk about constant improvement, and you can use evaluation as a develop a strategy for improvement. And I just want to show you this little picture I made here. And if you can look at your chess strength as being made up of different things, and this is not all inclusive. This is just for the example. In green, maybe you're strong in the opening. Maybe you're strong with strategy. Maybe you're okay in the end game, but maybe you need to improve your tactics in your middle game based on this evaluation. And again, the evaluation can be maybe a rating, maybe your tactics rating on chess.com or Elite Chess is not as high as you'd want it to be, or maybe it's something, maybe your coach is looking at your games and saying, you're weak in the middle game, or maybe you're looking at a computer evaluation of your games and you're seeing that the opening you're doing pretty well, but in the middle game it often dips. And this is where you can use this type of feedback to develop a strategy. Maybe you need to spend more time in those particular areas, or maybe you need to get a specific book or a course that will help you in those areas. So, evaluation feedback can be very helpful in a way that is prescriptive to helping you to improve. And here's a couple questions to finish up the video. What is the best source of feedback that you're currently using? You have a coach. Maybe you just love doing these tactics problems, and you really get into uh, the problems, and that's helping you to improve in your tactics in your games. And then where can you use feedback that you aren't already. And I'd invite you to answer the questions in the comments below and love to interact with you there. And to finish up here, I just want to invite you to my Twitch stream, typically Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can find a link down there in the description below. I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.